Welcome to the Rockabye Revenue Podcast with me, Abby Watson. I'm a mum of 4 and a business strategist, and I train people to become hypnobirthing teachers. In the last decade, I've built a thriving baby business that grew beyond my wildest dreams. This podcast is for you if you run a business or dream of running a business in the birth and baby industry. You want to change lives whilst making more money. I'm talking about creating sustainable income whilst being present for the people that matter most. I believe for our baby businesses to have the impact we desire, we must be rewarded. On this podcast, expect me to share actionable strategies without the jargon. I've been where you are. I've built a business while raising 4 little ones, and now I'm here to help you turn your passion into profit while creating the life you've always dreamed of. So let's get started. Hello, my lovely one. I hope you are having a beautiful week so far. Today I'm here with a shorty episode. And it's one that's really from the heart and it's totally off the cuff. And it might even be a little bit emotional. And maybe it should even come with a trigger warning. So I am going to be touching upon my experiences and lessons from attending my brother-in-law's funeral. So I want to give it a trigger warning because I know there might be someone listening who has recently experienced a death and they don't want to be where they are right now listening to this podcast. And if that's you, that's totally okay. It's okay to press stop. It's okay to press pause and not listen to this right now. So now we've talked about that, I want to really share with you one of the key reflections I've had that I really think is so applicable to us as baby business owners. Now, at the weekend, it was my brother-in-law's funeral, and it was a day that none of us wanted to be having. And it was deeply emotional and it was beautiful and it was, dare I say, like lovely. It was such a lovely day, even though it seems really weird saying that because, like I said, it's the day none of us wanted to ever have. And even now it just feels so blooming surreal that that's what we were all celebrating this Sunday, you know, the passing of such an incredible guy, my wonderful sister's partner. So heartbreaking. But anyway, the thing that I want to share with you today is something that I have been thinking about since, and not just from Craig's funeral, but also from other funerals that I've been to in the past. And I tell you what stands out to me so much in all the funerals I've ever attended, that the things that are shared at that event, the stories that are told, the parts of that person's life that is highlighted, very rarely has anything to do with what they did for a living. You know, at those funerals, the person's job title, position, income, targets, number of clients are never mentioned. Never. And I tell you why that really stands out to me. Because when it comes to the end of somebody's life, those are not the things that we remember about that person, that we want to celebrate. You know, those are not the things that we want to celebrate. Yet, in the everyday, those things can sometimes feel so important, like disproportionately important. And it really got me thinking about my own life and other people's lives around me. And it got me thinking back to many years ago when I was a secondary school teacher. Like, all I'd ever wanted to be was a school teacher. And leaving that career felt huge. And one of the reasons that it felt so huge was because I saw being a teacher as being my identity. Like, it was what I was. It was what I introduced myself as. It was what formed my conversations when I met someone. It felt so part of me that stepping away from it felt real hard, and it felt like I was losing something so huge. And when I think of the funerals that I've attended and how job titles, careers, earnings, salaries, all these things are never mentioned, it really makes the point that our identity is not our job title or what we do. It's so much more than that, And you might be listening to this and you might be like, well, I run a business and my business is so much part of me. Yeah, mine is too. But I bet at my funeral, people are not talking about how many clients I had, what I earned from my business. The things that sometimes might seem so important in the everyday will absolutely not be the things that matter at the end of it all. And, this is not me saying, like, your work is not important. It blooming is. But it's remembering that whatever work you do, it's a vehicle. It's not the whole story, So whatever it is that you do to make money, whether it is a glorious business or whether it is, some kind of job for somebody else or some organisation, ultimately, it's a vehicle that allows you to make those memories, to touch those lives, to live your life. So maybe sometimes we do stress the small stuff. We focus so much on the little bits. But in actual fact, life is about the connections, the way that you made people feel, the way that you made yourself feel. And that's what we talk about at the end of somebody's life. So on Sunday at the funeral, what were they talking about? Well, they were talking about how this incredible man made everybody feel around him, how much he meant to so many other people, the support he gave, the times he brought joy and laughter, because ultimately that's what matters. And when you think about your business or the business of your future, whilst of course it's great to have big stretchy goals and maybe you get joy and satisfaction out of that, remember what's underneath it all, Remember that actually you're doing this for living, touching lives, being present, definitely got me thinking about that today. And I really wanted to share that with you. So I'm going to leave it there. Like I said, a shorty episode, and I really hope on some level it puts things in a little bit of perspective. Our legacy is not about the money that we earn, the job titles we had, the number of clients we had, the fact that we launched that course. It's about how we made people feel. It's about the memories, the magic. We're only here once, So have a beautiful day. And as always, keep on changing lives, including your own. Take care. Bye. Thank you for listening to Rockabye Revenue. I hope this episode has left you with some fresh ideas and bundles of motivation. If you enjoyed this episode, do make sure you click subscribe so you never miss an installment. And if you found this episode useful, I'd love you forever if you leave a 5-star review, helping this podcast reach the ears of more of the helpers in this world. And remember, keep changing lives. See you next time.